Hi, I'm Les Kirkup. Welcome to this video on experimental methods for science and engineering students. This and other videos delve into the practices and methods that scientists and engineers adopt when they do experiments, and which are applicable when you yourself carry out experiments. Reports and papers in science and engineering describe the purpose, background, methods, results, and outcomes of experiments. Papers and reports are similar in many ways, and we'll consider both in this video. But let's begin by examining a paper describing a groundbreaking experiment. In 1985, Donna Strickland and Gerard Moreau published a paper in which they described a technique for creating ultra-short, high-power pulses from a laser. The technique is known as chirped pulse amplification, or CPA for short. Since 1985, the technique has found application in many areas of science and engineering. These include cancer treatment for treating deep tissue tumours. CPA laser accelerates protons for precise targeting of a tumour without destroying the healthy surrounding tissue. Materials processing, including the machining of brittle materials like the cover glass used on smartphones. And corrective eye surgery, where a CPA laser is used as a laser scalpel which slices the eye's corneal flap. The paper written by Strickland and Moreau consists of only 3 pages, around about 1,200 words. This demonstrates that a paper need not be long to be important. In fact, this paper was so significant that Strickland and Moreau were awarded a Nobel Prize in 2018 for chirped pulse amplification. Let's now explore some general features of reports and papers. Here we see advice on sections to be included in a paper. The advice is provided to authors by the Institute of Physics in the UK. Here is advice for engineering students on sections to be included in a report. The advice is provided by the University of Sussex. Similarities between sections of papers and reports will be shown in green, while differences will be shown in blue. Let's start with the title. The title should be short and informative, making clear what was studied. It is usually followed by the name of the author and the author's affiliation. The abstract or summary. This describes the purpose, methods and major findings of an experiment in no more than a couple of hundred words. Contents. This section is routinely found in a report, but not in a paper unless the paper is exceptionally long. Introduction. This considers the background to the work and the area of science or engineering being studied. What specifically was worked on? What is the main aim of the experiment or experiments? This would be included in the introduction. Sections that make up the body of the report. These include experimental method. This describes the techniques that were used, including any materials and samples investigated. Results. Includes data that were obtained. These are often shown in graphical form, as trends and anomalies are more easily identified through a graph rather than in a table containing data. And discussion. What do the results mean? Have you fulfilled the aim of the experiment or experiments? How could they be improved? Conclusions. This is the place to discuss what can be drawn from the work and what might lead on from the experiment. It is also usual to restate the main findings of an experiment in the conclusion. Acknowledgements. The acknowledgement section recognises those who offered support during the experiment. Perhaps the author worked with someone else or received advice from a supervisor. In any case, anyone who helped deserves to be acknowledged. References. All experiments build on the work of others. Throughout the paper or report, but especially in the introduction and discussion sections, mention should be made of the work of others, which is relevant to your experiment. There are specific ways by which references should be included. See below for a link to a recognized referencing convention. Bibliography. This is a list of further reading related to the experiment that the reader may refer to, for example a book, but the book is not mentioned specifically in the body of the report. Bibliographies are not included in papers. Appendices. This is missing from the advice given by the Institute of Physics. but as appendices are sometimes found in papers, I'll add the section. An appendix is the place where you'd find derivations, computer programs, or tables of raw data that would otherwise break up the flow of the paper. Let's return to the first page of the paper by Strickland and Moreau. Note that there are no section headings. This saved space in the journal which published the paper. Nevertheless, the usual sections can still be identified. Here is a summary. Here to here is an introduction, which gives some background to the work and some context. And here is the materials and methods section. Longer papers would invariably include section headings, as would science or engineering reports. Experimental findings in science and engineering are communicated by means of papers and reports. Papers and reports are permanent records of work that can be referred to and used by others. It could be argued that without the communication of the purpose, method, results and findings of an experiment, that the effort expended in carrying out the experiment has largely been wasted. When the minute details of an experiment are long forgotten, it is a paper or report that endures as a permanent record of what was done and is the most visible indicator of how well it was done. In another video we will consider the preparation of a report or paper. But that's all for now. Thank you for watching.